all my years, I never thought I would have a painting in a museum. I mean, that's just never been my style of art, I guess. But to be chosen and to be part of, man, all these paintings up here is, man, it's humbling, and it makes me feel pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of talented people here. And I mean, I've always known that, we're not just cops. We have come from all different backgrounds, do all kinds of different things, but to sit in here and know that my paintings with all these other artists is, man, it's pretty awesome and humbling at the same time.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Especially since there's a lot of different mediums, a lot of different law enforcement backgrounds, and the fact that it's in a museum, but it's in mostly recognized as like a historical museum, not necessarily an art museum. And this is the museum's first art exhibition too.
Yeah, I had a chance to walk around and look at all of them and read, and man, it's impressive. It is very impressive. There are a lot of talented people out here.
Yeah, very talented for sure. So when did you begin your artistic journey, and why?
I was a kid. I can remember, and my parents tell stories as far back as me. I would tear pages out of coloring books, tape them up to our patio door, and then put a piece of paper over the top of them and trace them. I wouldn't color in the things. I would just trace. I remember doing it with Star Wars coloring books, like tracing the characters and stuff. So I think as far as I know, and as long as I could hold a pencil or a crayon, I've been making art. Kind of got away from it. This job is all encompassing and will take all your time if you let it. And I let it, unfortunately. Then a few years ago, I got really sick, and I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to come back to law enforcement. And I was like, I had a lot of free time and really couldn't do anything, and really started drawing again, and said, man, and ever since then, it's just been like, I don't know, I just do it. It's like, you know what, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. If I want to paint this, I'm going to do it. I published my own comic book. I just was like, I'm going to do this stuff, because if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. I'm tired of putting things off. I want to make art. I'm just going to make art. People like it, great. If they don't, well, oh well, I'm learning. Art's a learning process. You get better with everything you do. So I figure if this one may not be great, but the next one may be better. So ever since I could hold a pencil or a piece of paper, I've been trying to make something out of it.
So you stopped for a while, and then you started to pick it back up again.
Yeah.
Because you're active currently.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I've been with the agency I'm with now for 17 years in Jefferson County, Colorado. Currently a K-9 handler assigned to the patrol division. I run a dual purpose bomb patrol dog, and we're also assigned to the SWAT team and bomb squad. So yeah, it's a full-time gig.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So why do you think artistic expression is helpful for officers dealing with stress and trauma?
There's a saying, and I don't remember where I heard it, but I don't know if it was a famous artist, but somebody asked him, like, well, why do you paint? And he's like, I paint to stop thinking. And I think for me, that's a big thing. It's like when I sit down and I'm painting or drawing or whatever, like, you just stop. Like, everything just kind of goes away. Like, I'm just seeing where the lines take me, where the paint goes. It just I don't want to say it's another world, but it really stops you from thinking. I mean, you're just creating, you're just making things. And it's just such a fun experience to be able to have that outlet where, I mean, it's like the gym or anything else, but man, once you're in that world and you're at that table and you got your stuff out and you're doing whatever you're doing, painting, taking photos, I'm sure is the same way. Like, you're not thinking, you're just creating, and it's a different headspace. Yeah. Nothing else exists for that time, which, for me, it gets chopped up pretty good. It's an hour and I got to go do something else and then an hour back. But yeah, there's nothing else going on. You're just focused on that project, that paper, that canvas. And nothing else going on but that. All your worries just kind of fade away. And yeah.
I think that's a skill in and of itself, though, is being able to, not necessarily disassociate, but at least disconnect from real life to just focusing on, one thing, for the next, hour. I'm going to read. I'm not going to think about anything else, just close my mind. And it's, very meditative in that sense. And
that's hard, nowadays. I mean, we're so connected to everything. I mean, I'm on call all the time, so that phone's always there, waiting. And there's been times where I sit down, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get after it. Sit down and get ready, and the pager goes off, and it's like, oh man, like, all right, we'll come back.
Yeah. Do you have a designated like studio space?
Yeah. Yeah, my
That's
wife's nice enough to let me have. I have my little, like I call it my office, but yeah, like I have my desk and all my stuff, and I'm a huge comic book artist fan. So every time I go to a show, I try to get a piece of art from some artist I really look up to, and even tattoo artists or just artists in general. So I have a whole wall that's just every piece is different from the other, and it's a cool inspiration to be like, man, look what that guy did. Like I want to try to do that, or I wonder how I could incorporate something similar. And I mean, I've gone to places and I'll just sit there and watch somebody draw all day, just watch techniques and how they do things and pick up little things that I take home and try on my own. Because I've never been to school for it. It was just something I just started doing.
Right. Yeah. You just start picking up and just start, doodling.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It all starts with the doodle
Just
somewhere.
just seeing where it takes you.
Yeah. You don't know. I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm sure every artist will say that we're our own worst critics, and there's plenty of stuff that I've done where I'm like, this is garbage, but somebody else comes along and they're like, oh man, that's amazing. And you're like, okay, yeah, if you say so, I mean, that's just the curse of it, I guess, is I see every flaw and every mistake I made, but somebody, other people look at it and they don't see any of that. I do a lot of the portraits for handlers or even people's pet dogs, and there's ones I look at where I'm like, oh, I'm not happy with this, and they take it and they're like, oh, I love it so much, and give me a hug, or and they send me pictures of it hanging up at their house, and it's like, all right, well, you're your own worst critic.
Yep. It's like art is personal until it isn't, because it can just be purely about what you want to do, but somebody else says something about it, and they're like, oh, I think that's amazing. Can you do that for me? And then all of a sudden, then you have eyes on everything.
Yeah.
And instead of doing it for other people, now it's like, okay, well, maybe I'll do it for myself too, and maybe do it for other people. And now all of a sudden it's like everyone knows what you're doing, and like that's a great thing too. But
yeah,
I think there's a couple of artists that nobody at their department knows that they paint or draw or have any sort of artistic expression, because I guess it's deeply personal to them. They don't need anyone else to know.
Yeah,
and it's totally fine. But
mine really didn't start getting shared till last year. We lost one of our canines, and I did a painting of him for the handler, and I ended up making prints of it and gave it to just about everybody that was there. And now he hangs up at our vet's office. He hangs up at the kennel where we used to kennel our dogs. The sheriff has one hanging up in her office, and it's just cool. And now everybody knows, but and I'm fine with that. But yeah, for me, it was a way that he's always going to be there now. People still remember him and the sacrifice he gave. And you think, the running joke is like you spend more time with the dog than you do with your family. And like, that's a fact. Like, Paul, my first dog, we needed 40 plus hours a week together. And then that didn't include at home, and there's something to be said for like, I knew him almost his whole life, and he was just a small part of mine. And that's how these dogs are, like I got him, I think he was probably 3 or 4, and he made it till 13, but like his whole life, like it was me and him, and that's all he knew. And it's a pretty special bond to have,
Yeah.
And they're just amazing creatures. Like being a dog handler was not something I had ever any interest in or doing anything like that. And then saw a working dog for the first time when I was in training. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And that's what I want to do.
And so when did you start, doing portraits of canines?
So that started just out of the blue. I did one of him because I had seen online somebody paint with tea or something. And I was like, oh man, I wonder if that works with coffee. So I did some research and saw people had some various techniques. So I was like, I was going to try it. So I sat down and I did my first painting of him with coffee and ink. And it's still one of my favorite paintings I've ever done. And it just came out really cool. And then here and there I did, the pet dogs we've had over the years. And then I started doing them for handlers who lost their dogs for whatever reason, whether old age or killed in line of duty, or we had one that just one day got sick, a neighboring agency, the dog just got sick and passed away. And it was hard for the handler, I mean, was tough, like just there 1 minute, gone the next. And I found that doing these paintings, the people, it just means so much to them. It's a unique piece that they have to remember them by. And they always, the portraits, I think the pictures I get of people's dogs sometimes is just hilarious. They're like, one of the first one I did was a dog, and they had put a pair of glasses on him for whatever reason. And I was just like, I was like, okay, like I'll paint your dog with these human glasses on. But it's like, it sits in his office, and it's just this neat piece, because for him, it's like, that's my dog, and that was, his personality. We could put glasses on him because he was fun and loving, and and to just give people these paintings of their dogs that they can remember forever, that are super unique, and everyone's different. And but the photos, like sometimes they'll send me pictures and they're like, pick one of these 10 photos, and it's like, oh man. I have to go through and try to find the most unique photo that really kind of like, I don't know the dog, but you can definitely tell, like, this is who this dog is, like their personality, so yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's a good way for people to remember their dogs, whether they're police dogs, military dogs, pets, whatever.
I mean, pets are family most of the time, and it's
yeah, I just found it's a great way, and the people I do them for just love and cherish them, and I'm glad that I may not have known the dog, but like I get to be a part of that dog, and for the ones I've known, it's awesome to be like, yeah, I remember that dog, like, that was an awesome dog. Stories about him or whatever.
Yep. How would you recommend law enforcement explore artist therapy?
Well, art can be any kind of thing. I know guys that I work with that are great, that are woodworkers, and they just make incredible things. Guys who work on cars, it's just whatever that outlet is for you, whether it's drawing, painting, working on cars, woodworking, construction, whatever. I mean, it's all creative art. Just do it. Don't let this job like take too much of your time, because it will if you let it. Just do those things that you love, and those things that you enjoy, and those things that help you relax, and get you away from the stressors of this job, because there's plenty of them.
That's for sure. Now, I know we covered a smattering of different things, but is there anything else that you maybe want to discuss that you haven't been able to?
I guess, I'll talk about the painting, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go for it.
It's a painting of my first dog, Paul, spelled Paul. It was pronounced Powell. The lady who got it to our vendor was from Sweden. She had a real thick accent, so she always called him Powell. He was a dual-purpose patrol narcotics dog. Never cared much for narcotics work. He was more of a people dog. He liked finding bad guys. And dogs are very pack-oriented creatures. And that was from a photo I took one day. It was his last SWAT operation before he retired. The photo was just awful because I had all my stuff on and the lighting is terrible. And so I was like, well, I want to paint this picture, because it was just this day where I knew, like, buddy, this is your last time you're going to do this, because, he was getting ready to have surgery he had a torn ACL, and that was it. He was going to retire, and it was time for me to switch him to a new role, and he just loved to work. And he got up in that truck, and he loved those guys. That was his pack. And he knew the ringtone on the phone when it would go off. Like, I'd be asleep in the middle of the night or out doing something, and he would hear that phone call off, and he'd come running and find me and be like, oh, we're going. Get your stuff on. I'll see you out at the car. And it just was, he was 12-ish, 11, 12-ish, and you could see the white and all his face, the age on him. But man, he just was like so focused and ready to go that day. Just, he's like, I'm going with my boys. We're going to go do fun things. I want to go with these guys. And it was a testament to him was when he retired, everybody wanted a picture with him. Most people did anyways, but a good portion of people wanted a picture with him when he retired, which I had never seen before. They were like, oh, let me take a picture with him. And he loved those guys and they loved him. And he just was, he's a special guy, and it's just awesome that he gets another year to be around, because he passed away, but he's still here, and he gets to, that guy I never thought would hang. He was a tough, mean old son of a but he's hanging up in a museum now. So
Born as an old man.
yeah. A grouchy old man is up there in a museum, and I think that's hilarious for me and everybody else who knew him. Like, that's the dog that's hanging up in the museum.
Yeah.
So, and it was fun, it was therapeutic for me to paint that, because he had passed away, and I said, I went through. I take tons of photos just because you never know when you're going to capture something cool, and that was a photo. I was like, this is a good photo of him before, his last time he got to go do something fun before he retired and chase chickens and goats around the farm.